Tonight on CFTK-TV, Mark Carney meets with Premier Eby on softwood lumber. The international stock market sees a drastic drop, and one species makes its return thousands of years later.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Hello, I'm Damian Smith, and thank you for joining us here on CFTK-TV. Well, the Terrace Chamber of Commerce recently ushered a new executive director, and one of the first events this new director will champion is the All Candidates Forum happening this Friday here in Terrace. Here's Jaylene Matthews of CFTK-TV with more.
All these letters, and this is what this says. Thank you for seeing something in me I didn't realize existed.
Ward Skinner has spent the past 30 years in the business consulting sector, helping companies get organized and grow.
The lessons I've learned over the years, doing what I've done, and helping people, to see people that have kept in touch. And it's been 20 years since we did business together, and they still send text messages and emails.
And now he's bringing those skills to the Terrace and District Chamber of Commerce as the new executive director.
As simple as it sounds, we're here to help. So there's all these businesses out there that everybody wants to chase the big companies because they got big wallets. But what about the little guy? What about the guy that's one or two or three people in their business and they're hanging on by a thread? Maybe they don't know, they think, well, this is the way a business is supposed to be. Well, not always. There are answers out there. We have got, aside from what I can do, but we have got people that are tax experts as part of the Chamber of Commerce. We have people that are legal aspects of it. There's people, sales, manufacturing practices.
Skinner says he wants to see the place thrive.
This is about making this wonderful little town very successful. In one aspect, I don't want to see high-rise apartments going up or, great big skyscrapers. I love the small town atmosphere here. But why don't we make this a really good place for everybody?
Now, this coming Friday, April 11th, the Chamber will be hosting an all-candidates forum for the upcoming federal election at the Terrace Sportsplex from 5:30 to 9 p.m., with casual conversation until 6:45 and moderated discussion from 7 to 9. Skinner says this is a great opportunity to have your voice heard.
We would ask that anybody that wants to, please come. Have your voices heard. It's a chance to talk, to ask a question that might be bugging you half to death. Well, come and ask. Find out what they have to say. Now more than ever, it's very important that people get involved with the events that are going on around the world. I won't get any more direct than that, okay? That, boy, you better stand up and be counted.
For CFTK TV News in Terrace, I'm Jaylene Matthews.
There will also be all candidates forums happening in both Kitimat and Houston. In Kitimat at the Mount Elizabeth Theater on April 15th from 6 to 9 p.m. and in Houston on April 16th at the Houston Community Hall at 7 p.m. Now, breaking news from today, the United States will be looking to impose 104% tariffs against China at midnight. As it was confirmed by White House spokesperson Carolyn Leavitt today at a press briefing, she backed the tariff move up by saying that if China does reach out, then Trump will be gracious and do what's best for the American people. This storyline comes after the U.S. president promised to raise the tariffs against China after they levied their own 34% counter tariff against the Americans. This is just one announcement for now, with more expected of tariffs to come later against Canada. Now over to tariff news in the Canadian sphere, where in the automotive industry, it was announced that a big portion of workers have been cut due to an uncertain future with the United States. Adrian Gabriel was down in Southern Ontario, which is the hub of car manufacturing.
A clear shot across the bow.
Because this threat is real.
Just outside of Windsor, Ontario, in the quaint town of Amherstburg, third-generation auto worker Caitlin Drake heads out for her morning coffee as she wakes up to a new reality.
I would have been preparing to go to work for an afternoon shift, and I'm not.
Drake is one of 4,500 Stellantis employees temporarily laid off. Sitting down with CTV News, she shares her worst fears.
It worries me on holding on to our homes, paying our bills.
For you, this is personal.
We've helped build the auto industry. And now I feel like it's not just Windsor, they're attacking Canada as a whole.
Inside the cafe, Drake isn't the only one feeling the heat of the assembly line shutdown.
How many years do you have in?
25.
You have 25 years.
Yep. Been through plant closures, bankruptcies, layoffs.
Does it feel different this time?
Yes. Now, with this is, it's almost someone deliberately saying, hey, like, look at me in the schoolyard. I'm the big bully. This is what I'm going to do.
It's not just Stellantis employees here in Amherstburg who feel that they're under attack from across the river. There's hundreds of Canadians who work for separate parts manufacturers who, as of today, have been laid off.
Between the 23 to 2,500 auto parts suppliers will be on layoff effective today.
Behind every worker sitting at home is a Canadian family facing an uncertain future.
Is this going to stop? What's the end game? Nobody knows.
In an email to CTV News, Stellantis says it continues to assess the effects of the recently announced U.S. tariffs on imported vehicles and will continue to engage the U.S. administration on these policy changes. Words that bring little comfort to those living along the Canadian shore of the Detroit River.
Things were working well before, and let's get back to that.
Stellantis says its assembly line here in Windsor will resume operations on April 21st. Employees tell us they're concerned about how many shifts might be available.
And in BC News, Prime Minister Carney on his campaign made a stop on the island to discuss the softwood lumber industry with Premier David Eby. Robert Buffum has this report down in Victoria.
Taller, younger, better looking.
Prime Minister Carney met Premier Eby for the first time in person Monday at the BC Legislature.
We've got a lot to talk about today, obviously. We've got some bad news on tariffs for our softwood lumber industry.
The focus of their meeting, the soaring duties on softwood lumber that the U.S. confirmed Friday it intends to more than double to 34.5% in September. The province and lumber industry pushing for federal help.
It's crucial now. The screws are on us are even harder for us to survive.
Carney addressed the issue while campaigning earlier in the morning at a cidery near Victoria.
And I recognize that there's 50,000 workers that are affected by this. I recognize the importance of this industry. I've known it my whole life.
Later, pointing to BC's value-added lumber products and a growing demand for them.
Think about the opportunity to really use British Columbia technologies in modular housing, mass timber, and what the federal government is looking to do is, with you, scale up dramatically in terms of affordable housing.
The issue also dominating question period.
The federal government has to step up. When we are talking about the auto sector in Ontario, the federal government brings dollars to the table.
Opposition leader John Rustad points out that duties have been forecasted for months and thinks BC and Canada should fight back strategically.
I proposed the idea of a carbon tax on thermal coal coming out of the States and being shipped through Vancouver.
Also discussed by the leaders, BC's push for more funding from Ottawa for infrastructure like the new Massey Tunnel and ensuring reliable travel corridors.
Ensure that our ports are working, that our trains are working, that our highways are working to get goods to market.
After the meeting, Eby didn't have much to add.
It was great. Yeah, good meeting, good conversation.
No sign any financial support was promised by Ottawa, but Eby's office issued a statement acknowledging the leaders discussed using more BC mass timber for housing to sell at home and internationally. As the trade wars with the states remain the focus of discussions between national and provincial leaders.
Coming up next, dire wolves have been resurrected by scientists. Hello again. Well, scientists have now found a way to bring back the dire wolf, which is not something that the modern human has ever seen. In fact, it's been thousands of years since they've been seen in front of the human eye. Andrew Dimberth of ABC News has this story.
It's a howl 13,000 years in the making. Dire wolves walking the earth for the first time since the Stone Age, thanks to a remarkable scientific breakthrough.
The dire wolf is the first de-extinct species.
Until recently, the only way to catch a glimpse of the bygone beast was to watch Game of Thrones.
The dire wolf is a sigil of your house. They were meant to have them.
But now, Texas-based Colossal Biosciences has recreated the canines by implanting fossilized genes into the gray wolf.
We've taken a gray wolf genome, a gray wolf cell, which is already genetically 99.5% identical to dire wolves, and we've edited those cells at multiple places in its DNA sequence to contain the dire wolf version of the DNA.
Colossal giving ABC News an exclusive glimpse inside their lab.
That animal looks like a dire wolf, it will behave like a dire wolf, and it is a dire wolf.
But as dire pups Romulus, Remus, and Khaleesi grow, so does the controversy surrounding their existence.
Ecosystems are very delicately balanced, and nature is far more complicated than our ability as humans to understand it or to understand all the possible unforeseen consequences.
Some critics claim these new wolves aren't actually dire wolves, since they share so much of their DNA with their modern-day counterparts, while others are concerned that de-extinction efforts could have unforeseen or even deadly consequences.
The bottom line is a lot of the genome we still do not understand, and so one wants to be careful if you're mucking around with genes that there may be things we don't understand. You may produce a wolf that's twice as ferocious.
Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
And now we take a look at the local weather forecast for tonight and for the week ahead. Tonight in Prince Rupert, it should be cloudy with a 40% chance of showers this evening, followed by partially cloudy conditions, and the low should be at around 6 degrees. For this week, expect rain for the next few days, followed by some showers on Friday, but Saturday should be sunny overall. The high should be 10 degrees on that Saturday, with the low being 1 degree on Saturday night, so a little bit of a drop there. Tonight's forecast in Terrace and Kitimat, it should be cloudy with a 60% chance of showers. Winds should be coming from the south at 30 kilometers per hour, increasing to 50 until after midnight time, and the low should be +3 degrees. For this week, there's a decent chance of sun tomorrow with a 40% chance of showers. The next few days after that, we'll see showers on Thursday and periods of rain on Friday. But on Saturday, it should be sunny, where you will also see the high of 10 degrees on that day, along with Sunday as well. The low should be 1 degree on Thursday and Friday evening. In the Bulkley Valley, tonight should be mainly cloudy with a 30% chance of showers earlier in the evening, along with a risk of thunderstorms, and the low should be at -4. For this week's forecast, expect some sun tomorrow, rain Thursday, then clouds on Friday, and then back to sun on the Saturday. The high should be 12 degrees on Sunday, but that is subject to change, and the low should be -4 on Friday evening. And now we check in on the roadside report from around the Northwest. For some additional updates, make sure to check out drybc.ca. On Highway 16, there is bridge maintenance on Haida Gwaii, utility work west of Rainbow Lake and west of Terrace. Tomorrow there is bridge maintenance east of Smithers running till 4 p.m. Road sweeping east of Burns Lake and slippery sections. Highway 37 has frost heaves. Highway 37A has falling rocks throughout the highway, and Telegraph Creek Road has muddy sections. And these are what the cameras were looking like from around the Northwest. Still to come, a billionaire from China is now making her pitch to buy the Hudson's Bay Company. Welcome back. Well, a BC billionaire sees the mass shutdown of the Hudson's Bay Company as a great opportunity to make the company rise up once again. As of right now, there are currently only 6 locations open across the country. Here's Annie Garland, CTV News.
This is BC billionaire Weihong Lihu taking to Chinese social media platform Red Note, saying she wants to make the Bay great again.
Sounds like she's got lots of money, and it's just a matter of if they can make a go for it, because Canadians have supported the Bay for years.
We could keep some history alive and maybe rejuvenate the brand.
She's expressed interest in purchasing dozens of Bay department stores, which are now in creditor protection.
She's probably a very astute businesswoman. And she must see something in the Bay, that she's interested in.
Lihu is the chair of Central Walk, which owns Woodgrove Mall in Nanaimo, Mayfair Mall in Victoria, and Tawasin Mills on the mainland, all of which have Bay stores.
It just has too much heritage and it's tied too much to our history. So I applaud her efforts if she can find a way to salvage even part of the chain and keep the brand existing.
She says she doesn't want to see hundreds of years of Canadian retail history collapse. Retail analysts say whoever purchases the Bay will have an uphill battle to turn it around.
If you take Roots and Canada Goose and sort of, look at how they've went to retail, their go-to-market strategy, much smaller footprint, much more focused assortment. The Bay may do well in that regard.
Anyone who wants to take on the Bay has until April 30th to make a binding bid for its assets. Andy Garland, CTV News, Nanaimo.
And it was a roller coaster of a day yesterday, with stocks going up and down and with investors continuing to understand how Trump's tariffs will affect the global economy. With more, here's John Venevali-Rao.
The market mayhem picked up right where it left off on Friday. Stocks in Asia and Europe initially plunging, with Hong Kong's main index down 13%, its worst day since 1997.
Another rough day for the markets. The sell-off is getting worse this morning.
While North American markets saw wild swings, the Dow dropping 1,700 points, then surging to a gain of 900, following a rumor Donald Trump was considering a tariff pause.
The Dow has wiped out more than 1,000 point plunge.
But the White House then dismissed that rumor as fake news, prompting markets to slump again.
Any single comment, any single hint coming out of the administration is causing massive market moves. And of course, investors are jittery.
Trump then threatening to dramatically increase tariffs on China, warning they'll go up an additional 50% if China doesn't lift its own retaliatory tariffs by tomorrow. Investors are deeply worried about a full-blown global trade war, with pressure mounting for Trump to ease off. On Sunday, Trump ally and billionaire fund manager Bill Ackman urged a 90-day tariff pause or risk a, quote, self-induced economic nuclear winter. In a letter to shareholders, the head of J.P. Morgan also warned the tariffs would likely worsen inflation and are causing many to consider a greater probability of a recession. But Trump says he's not considering a pause to tariffs.
We're not looking at that. We have many countries that are coming to negotiate deals with us, and they're going to be fair deals.
And while markets closed well above their morning lows, some think the rout isn't over.
It's pretty unlikely that this is the bottom of the decline that we've seen over the last few weeks.
As for Toronto's main stock index, it closed down more than 300 points, and since last Thursday has lost about 10% of its value.
And now we take a look at the stock market, where we only see an increase in the money categories today. The Canadian dollar is up a slight amount. The price of gold is up $16.60. Oil is down $1.12. Natural gas is down 19 cents. And aluminum is down $6. In Toronto, the TSX is down 352 points. The Venture Index is down 5.66. In New York, the Dow Jones is down 320 and NASDAQ is down 335. And the first quarter from the BC Northern Real Estate Board has been released. In Hazelton, 8 properties worth $1.6 million have been purchased so far this year. Prince Rupert has seen 30 properties sold, with 21 of them being single-family residencies. Terrace has also sold 59 so far, worth about $29 million in total. And Kitimat has seen 28 units sold worth $11.6 million. Still ahead, the aftermath of the astronauts who found themselves stranded out in outer space. Welcome back to our final segment here on CFTK-TV. Well, about a month after astronauts returned home to Earth, more details have been revealed about their mission. Allison Bamford has more from CTV News.
I would say it was difficult. We never said we were going to be gone for 9 months, but it turned out that way.
NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams speaking about their journey for the first time since returning home.
I'm back.
And splashdown, Crew 9 back on Earth.
What was supposed to be an 8-day mission lasted more than 9 months.
And liftoff of Starliner at Atlas V.
Last June, the pair soared into space in the new Boeing Starliner, a mission meant to test the spacecraft for future flights.
When we go to the moon, we won't have an International Space Station to maybe take a stop at. We really have to get it right. And because of our mission, I think that highlighted some areas where maybe we need to work on and get it right.
Helium leaks and propulsion issues with the spacecraft extended the astronauts' stay at the International Space Station.
They were more than just gap fillers on the station. They were productive, pushing the station mission forward.
Now, back on Earth, they aren't pointing blame for the problems that kept them in space.
We're going to look forward and say, what are we going to use our lessons learned from this whole process and make sure that we are successful in the future.
The goal is to explore more of the solar system, but right now that success largely depends on missions taking place here.
We are in the golden age of the space station right now in terms of the return on investment and what we're able to do there.
Capabilities astronauts want to keep improving in the next age and beyond. Allison Bamford, CTV News.
And out east, an artist creates paintings on milestones for players from the National Hockey League. This man also happened to be the one that painted the gift for Alexander Ovechkin, who broke Wayne Gretzky's record for most goals by an NHL player. Sean Varden has our final story of the day.
Tony Harris has had a love of art since he started doodling in school notebooks in grade 3.
I really enjoy being a child of the 70s. I really enjoyed that era of sports. Sports is my passion for art.
A trained teacher, he gave up the classroom to develop his craft. A special commission helped open the doors of the NHL over 2 decades ago. The portrait was of former Ottawa Senators coach Roger Neilson, commissioned by the Senators, now hangs at the Roger Neilson Children's Hospice at the Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario.
The details of hockey equipment, I like the way uniforms, I like the way they look, I love color. So to me it's like I want someone to look at it and have it be something that they've seen before and that they can relate to.
Harris's work is now well known in hockey circles. He's done dozens of commissions for NHL players and teams, and for the NHL's 100th anniversary, created portraits of each of the top 100 players.
People that I worked with at Roger Neilson's hockey school years ago, we just had connections. One led to another in the NHL, the NHL Players Association. Then I just started collecting different teams to work for and doing milestone paintings.
Now with hundreds of hockey canvases to his name, Harris's talent on full display after the Washington Capitals' Alexander Ovechkin set a new NHL record for the most goals scored, beating Wayne Gretzky's record of 894. The painting honoring this milestone took 48 days to complete, and Harris says it's multiple portraits in one: Ovechkin, the Stanley Cup, and Gretzky.
Those sort of things make you feel like, okay, I must be on the right path, like I'm doing something at a level that is being recognized and people are enjoying. Just it's turned out to be a great adventure.
Sean Varden, CTV News.
That will be all for the cast tonight. Thank you very much for watching and have a great evening.